Hello, coffee lover. Paul Colby here with another rendition of Coffee Truth. And things are really heating up in the home coffee roasting field. This is extremely exciting. So, we have launched, my partner and I, Raymond Lay from Singapore, a Kickstarter campaign called Coffee Roasting in Your Kitchen with the Power Roaster. So we've been working on the Power Roaster, as some of you know, for several years now. And we just have produced a really good prototype that works fantastic, looks good, and we launched Kickstarter about 2 weeks ago. So we had a great initial 2 days. We were 30% funded, and then it started to slow up a little bit. We started to get questions. People wanted to see a continuous roasting video, which we came through and showed them. People were doubtful because there haven't been products like this coming through on the market. And then after a couple weeks, another product that was launched that's also a home roaster called the Kelvin launches on Kickstarter. And this is from a design firm, not an engineering firm, but a design firm. And they've won awards, blah, blah, blah. And so they launched their Kickstarter campaign, and it goes crazy. Fully funded in 3 hours, and in just a couple days, they're up 5 times more than we had in 2 weeks. And now they're blown through that. They've raised over $200,000. Could be on their way to $3 million. Who knows? And it's a very slick marketing ad campaign. So they had everything set up for the launch, because the whole idea with Kickstarter, and there are tricks people use in order to go viral. They sell distributorships ahead of time. They have pre-orders so that once they launch the campaign, it looks like these orders are coming in. Everything's just going crazy, right? So they had this huge momentum built up. They also had a lot of online bloggers and everyone talking about this that was already lined up. I mean, I looked into it. And I want to point out some things, because as another Kickstarter campaign, I don't want to talk about their product or address them directly. So I thought maybe we could do this through my Coffee Truth channel. Okay, so we have a working prototype. In fact, my partner today in Singapore did a live demonstration. So we've done live demonstrations. People have seen our machine in action. We just need the orders to start the production. However, this other machine, the Kelvin, to me, I've looked at their videos very closely, and it looks like roasting action is not actually happening, but it's fan action. And it looks like action that is identical to the SR500 home roasting machine, with the motor and the fan assembly and how it's moving the beans, because the coffee beans are moving differently in the chamber than our roaster. And to me, their roaster, it looks great. It's very contemporary kitchen appliance. It looks to me like a 3D printed roaster. And then I started to look further at some of the articles that were written about them and some of the details about the roaster. And what these articles are talking about is that they have an app, okay, where you can choose how much coffee you want to roast between a cup or a full pot, which would probably be somewhere between 20 grams and 100 grams. And you dial in the time to roast, and you can do this with an app. Well, I have to say, it's not possible. And what we have discovered through years of doing this research of roasting, that we have had to dial in a certain amount of coffee, a weight, which our weight has been 120 grams, and a specific time frame. And our time frame is 6 minutes or less. And it usually we roast 120 grams, depending on the coffee, because it's always going to be a little different, around 5.5 minutes. Now, we cannot cut that amount down to 60 grams of coffee, because the roasting action is completely different. If there's less coffee in the chamber, the coffee never gets hot enough, and it takes a much, much longer time to roast. Conversely, if there's a lot more coffee in the chamber, the air action isn't sufficient enough to make an even roast. So what happens is you get a very uneven burned roast. Now, we have discovered this through trial and error, through years and years of working with different machinery parts. It's not such a simple thing to do. That's why we have to say, okay, what do we want to do here? We want to roast 120 grams, about a quarter pound, in less than 6 minutes. And we've kept it to that. So we're not saying, oh, you can do 100 grams, you can do 80 grams. You cannot. You roast 120 grams in 6 minutes. If you're only using 40 grams a day, so you have 3 days worth. If you're using 200 grams a day, so you roast twice, and you'll have just a little bit, 40 grams left over for the next day when you're going to have to roast again. So the whole point is you have to be very specific when roasting and determining the amount you're going to roast and the time frame you're going to roast, because there's no way to change temperature. There's no way to change fan speed. These are fixed components. And if you build in ways to change that, then it's really going to be difficult to roast, because you're going to have different variables every time. And you'll have a very difficult time dialing in exactly what you need. So that's why we have done that for you. We've created our machine with just a simple on-off switch. You weigh 120 grams, put it in the chamber, turn the machine on. After 5 to 6 minutes, you look at the roast and how you like it done. You turn the machine off, you're done. That's it. All right, there's no variables to play with. And there cannot be, because if there are too many variables to play with, then it will be different every time. Roast profiles are very inexact. They don't work the same way. And you have to use the same weight, the same amount of coffee, and in the same time frame. Okay, so I just want to put that out there, because that's coffee truth. That's what's really happening with these machines, and I wanted to make people aware of that if they're looking into it. So no matter how slick and smooth and beautiful a machine can look and the marketing campaign is, you cannot change the weight of the coffee simply by roasting only 20 grams in a different time frame. It just doesn't work that way, because the machines cannot adjust to those different parameters. All right, that's it. This is Coffee Truth, Coffee University. I'm Pak Kopi, and I'll see you next time.